Hi, Brian Roten, senior reporter at Hotel News Now, here at the ALICE conference in Los Angeles. I'm sitting here with Greg Osteen, Chief Development Officer for Aimbridge Hospitality. Greg, thank you very much for joining me here today.
Thanks for having me, Brian. It's great to be here.
I say 2019 seemed to have been a pretty big year for Aimbridge and Interstate.
Yes, it was. Obviously, we merged late October. We've been working through the integration since then. We're probably in about the 8th or 9th inning of the integration. The good news for that is, though, most of that's being done at our Plano headquarters, not out in the field. So the intent with the integration and bringing the companies together is that the folks who are in the hotels managing properties for our owners are not, they're focused on running the hotel. They're not involved in, which systems are we going to have and which platforms are we going to adopt. They'll just continue to focus on delivering for their owners, and we'll sit back. We meet 2-3 times a week to talk about, what's the best platform for this, what's the best accounting system. So yeah, it's going well.
So I'm sure you're more than familiar with the numbers at this point, but give us a sense of the actual size and scale of this.
So today we have about 1,400 hotels and quite a few more in the pipeline. We're in 20 countries, 49 states. We had all 50, but we lost Alaska. We're going to get it back because I really want to color that in on the map. It's a big state, should be a lot of opportunity up there, so I want to be able to say we're in all 50. We're working on a number of opportunities in countries that we're not in today, so we'll continue to grow. And really, we'd like to see that number, 1,400 is a great number, but we'd love to see that go to 2,000, 2,500, 3,000, and that really, we will just continue to grow.
And just with the two companies coming together like that, that has created essentially the largest management company around, right?
By a large percentage, yes. I think our next closest competitor is maybe 1/7 our size. So it's for us, I think, a game changer for the industry.
So you gave us a little bit of information, but can you give a little more detail about how you go about integrating what were essentially the two biggest around? So how does that work?
So we have about 15 different integration teams with expertise across different platforms. So I'm the leader for development. We have a chief information officer who's doing it on the IT side. We have someone on the HR side. We have someone on the ops side. And we look at, okay, here's how Aimbridge did it. Here's how Interstate did it. Is this one better than that one? Is there some combination of the two? Or is there a third way to do it? And that's everything from email systems to IT platforms to payroll to HR systems across the board, because now with our balance sheet and with Advent as our parent company, owner, investor, we can invest in the best systems that are out there to provide better returns for our owners.
So I realize the company came together at the end of 2019. Can you give us a sense of how just overall 2019 went for both companies separately and then combined?
Sure, it was actually a record year for both companies from a development standpoint, from a growth standpoint, both at Interstate and at Aimbridge. And so, we raised the bar somewhat for what we need to do in 2020. But we've got a great global development team. I've actually got about 30 people globally, most of them here in North America, who are focused on continuing that growth.
Can you give us a sense then of, if we know what happened in 2019, what are you looking at then for 2020 domestically?
So domestically, we're looking at, obviously, we'd love to buy some other smaller companies. We'd love to obviously continue to do single transactions. We've got 8 verticals from budget and economy through select service, through extended stay, upscale select service, resorts. We want to continue to grow each one of those verticals. So we look really across the U.S., across North America, and we look at both platforms and existing portfolio's.
How about internationally?
Same thing internationally. It's just more selective. So we're looking at some joint venture opportunities in some countries that we're not in presently. That will give us overnight a big platform and a big growth vehicle. So talking about 10, 15, 30, 40 properties in one fell swoop, because again, with Advent as a partner and a balance sheet, we now have the capacity to do that and to grow strategically.
That's actually going to be my next question. Post-merger, what new opportunities has opened up for your ability to grow your global footprint?
Sure. So when we look, especially as we look across Europe, and we're in Russia, we're in the UK, we're in Amsterdam. We just opened our first hotel in Paris. As we look across a lot of Europe, one of the things that you need to grow into certain markets is a lease vehicle. So we're looking at that. Something we didn't have before because you need a pretty big balance sheet, and Advent is something that they would look at. So that's one of the things that we're considering going forward.
Now, it's obviously one of the benefits of having a company of this size and scale. And that's something we keep hearing about, especially at this point in the cycle.
Sure.
There are a lot of benefits to being bigger and having that scale and finding those efficiencies. But I got to imagine there's got to be a couple of challenges
Sure.
that present themselves when you're so big.
Always. And just a short version of the benefits, and you touched on it. We took over a hotel from a smaller operator. We saved, and it was a Westin, saved the owner $300,000 the day we took over, just because our purchasing was cheaper, our benefits were cheaper, across the board we could bring the economies of scale. But the opposite, the challenge is that for some owners, they don't want to be one of 1,400 or two of 1,400. They would rather be one of 20. Right? So, I mean, that's the part we're still figuring out is within our 8 verticals, how do we deliver that type of service? So if you go, well, for instance, Evolution is our lifestyle company that's based in Southern California, and they've built their company based on being that small California, lifestyle-oriented, different, right? They're not Aimbridge West, they're Evolution, right? So how they appeal to a certain type of owner that says, you know what? I like to work with this operator and this regional team, and I know that they're going to show up for my budget meetings. I know exactly who's going to be there, right? And I'm not just one part of this huge thing. I'm part of a smaller universe, and so that's the part we're still figuring out. In other parts, is can't be all things to all people, but we'd like to be more things to more people.
Great. Well, Greg, thank you very much for joining me here today, and thank all of you for watching. And stick with HNN for further coverage from the ALIS conference.